Good dog, and welcome back to the Norwegian campaign in Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. So, we're about to find out what's gonna happen to this invasion here. Hopefully it's gonna succeed. It's 99% chance of it succeeding. Unless this ship arrives first and reduces that chance. But hopefully we're gonna get Maine. Looks like we got Maine. And we're blockading Russia because, well, they have no ships. Admirals getting replaced and warned. Strike missions. And one light cruiser, Worcester class. Alright. And we're now in range of the light cruiser. And this should not take long, I think. Just need a couple of good hits. Not like that, that was a block. Overbends. There we go, that's more like it. And like that. And it's flooding all over. And already in the process of sinking, and there she goes. Nice. Alright, next. And it's a single German destroyer. And this time I just sent a single heavy cruiser to deal with the enemy destroyer. I got these three doing circles nearby though, just in case I need them. But I figure if it does get close enough to launch torpedoes at me, it's gonna be a lot easier to dodge with one cruiser than with four. There, it did launch. And I am dodging. And its torpedoes will not hit me. Quite a tough little DD. Only having 0.5 inches of armor. Maybe that's what's keeping it alive. No. 26,000 damage. Nice. And here's one. Two battle cruisers versus a little German task force. They're quite light though. Two of these not very good light cruisers and a couple of destroyers. Alright. Oh, we are a little bit low on ammunition. Yeah, that's right. These guys were firing at that German battlecruiser last month at long range because they didn't want to have to get close and in that case have to sink the German battleship as well, because we're keeping that one alive. this time around, I think actually, let's turn the guns off and not have them open fire at 40 kilometers, which they might decide to do even with them set to safe. Close in first, then open fire. Don't really have that much in the way of secondary weapons on these two. I mean, they do have some, but not a full battery of 7-inch guns or something like that. I'm gonna take out the 2 destroyers first, because they are by far the most dangerous ones here. Secondaries can open up on the light cruisers. Gonna keep an eye on when those 2 DDs launch their torpedoes. So that's the only threat here. Do you blow up your launcher or run out of ammo? She did launch. Yeah, that's right, they've got front-mounted launchers. Looks like we were able to avoid them, though. Yeah, there they are. What kind of torps did you have? Standard? It's pretty decent range for a standard torpedo once you get this far into the campaign. But I think you're still better off just using oxygen. Even if it is potentially a little bit more hazardous. More. I said a couple more salvos, but I don't even think we need that. I think these are, yeah. That one was going down anyway, even without that last punch. Now, with the mandatory battles out of the way, let's see what has happened. I've taken Romania. All my armies did. That's very good. And Maine. France is pushing into northern Germany from western Germany. France, I mean, not western France into northern France. This German advance into southern France seems to have stopped. I will probably take Belarus next month. Now, with main under control, let's see, let's have this light cruiser back into its formation. These will take back New Brunswick. The super battleships, I think we're going to send them here to the Gulf of whatever you want to call it. And we're going to try and take the Gulf Coast. But let's see, where can we invade now? That's 100%, that is good. 100, this is going to be done next month. And then I can maybe take North and South Sakhalin. And this is only a 3-month invasion. And these ships have arrived here, and we're gonna see if we can invade that place. Is that Eastern Siberia? Yes. Alright. So we got a little bit more free port capacity. And we're going to have even more in 2 months once those ships are done refitting. When that happens, transport capacity is still pretty good despite me losing quite a few transports. When that happens, we're gonna, let's see, we're gonna start building some of these that we designed in a previous episode. Alright, on to June. Alright, it is now June, and as usual we start off with some port strikes. Enemy fails to escape, and we have a German battle cruiser and a light cruiser, but we don't really care about that. Battle cruiser though, that this can be a battle. And the enemy is now pretty much in range. There they are. Let's drop down to cruising speed. Like so. And let's make sure the main guns are trained on that battlecruiser and not too distracted by the buzzard. Harald Hårfagre can target the light cruiser for now. I think one battleship should be enough to take care of the light cruiser, and then Harald can switch to the Star once Bassard is sunk. Unless the Star sinks first though, which is also possible. But maybe less likely. And it's still a little bit sad that the German Navy scrapped most of its ships before the war, because then we never got a real large proper battle with the Germans. I am accelerating the construction of the ships they're building though, to kind of compensate for that weird behavior, which I think is not intended. but some kind of a bug. But that does mean that all the ships they're building do kind of come out piecemeal instead of in a coherent task force. Which is a bit sad, but it's how it is. And I think Bassard is going down. Star is still kind of in one piece. Taking some flooding, but not too much damage. It is a pretty tough battlecruiser. Yeah, the main belt isn't too thick, but it's got those 3 inner layers. And a third of those being thick enough that with the modifiers to penetration to go through it. I think actually scoring main belt penetrations on that ship is pretty much impossible for my guns. Let's see, 18's the biggest ones here. No, we can do it at close range. Very, very close range. But in the meantime, partial pens on the belt and full pens on other things is pretty much what we can get. So the turrets with their 12 inches of face armor, much easier to go through than the main belt. And there it goes. Alright. Let's see. Let's see what is happening in the world. I gained Kamchatka. That is good. And I will gain next turn Crimea. Let's see, over here. Kamchatka is mine. Let's take one of the Sakhalins. North. All right. And this should be concluded next month. Let's see, what are the people building? Germany building light ships, 2 more destroyers and a light cruiser. US building a lot of things. Okay. Still not that much free port capacity, but these 2 are still being refit. So that's taken up a bit, and of course all these cruisers. But we're getting a lot of cruisers ready next month. Tasty. Zero, zero, 61. So Britain will take Hungary, it seems. very well. These are in the innovation circle. That is good. Once we got that, and North and South Sakhalin, Russia will be toast. Which is pretty nice. Siberian Russia doesn't actually have a port, so it cannot be invaded. It has a coastline, but because it doesn't have a port, it's not actually a region that can be naval invaded. Which is interesting. Let's go one more turn, and maybe then maybe design something. Hey, I found oil in Georgia. Let's see, do the strike. Do the strike. And fight the light cruiser. And there we are, in range of Gazelle. Dropping down to cruising speed. 18's already firing. We got a mix of triple and double. Maybe you can be on the thumbnail. Not sure if it's been there before. Like so. Good enough. Let's see if we can splash this boat. I'm gonna get one hit, it seems. Here it comes. It's blocked. Now the other ship, Kanari, one of the old Greek ships from a previous war, it's got smaller guns. It might actually do better against a light cruiser like that. If it can hit. "20 kilometers. There we go. That's the 18's actually doing amazing. Yeah, looks like looks like the 18's were more effective in this case. United States has taken Iraq from me. Southern Siberia, Crimea, and Belarus. Nice. 100% on that. Let's move these guys down here so they can in the future initiate an invasion of South Sakhalin. Now let's invade anything I can invade from the US here. Gulf Coast, 279,000 tons. Very nice, but let's start with Ukraine actually. Here. And then we can start this one next month, and by that time these should be almost done with their job. Okay, lots of tonnage available. So let's see what we can build. These will replace the Caribbean dreadnought squadron, so I need 4 of those, and I can build 4 without it blowing up my my construction capacity. And let's see, Brazil or something. Or something. Let's see, do we have a big port? Kingston, Jamaica. Not quite big enough to fit all 4, but close enough. I'll take it. That leaves me with still quite a bit. So we're also gonna build a couple of these. The fast battlecruisers. And they will be placed somewhere. I'll figure it out. Let's design something. And I want to see if I can build a dedicated gunboat kind of destroyer. But what to build on? Maybe this one? Maybe. Let's see, we're gonna go a little bit minus on the beam, a little bit minus on the draft, not too much. 36 knots. Maximum bulkheads. This is gonna have to be in firefights quite a bit. I can pick that big tower. That is fine. We got secondary tower with built-in barbette, like so. We need a torpedo launcher, at least one. It's a requirement to build a destroyer. They technically fit there, just not very well. Let's go with a smaller secondary tower. So they do fit here. Good. Okay. Funnel, of course. 47 for the big one. 35 for these ones. How about one of those? And then one of the smaller ones. No, didn't really like that. They can't really be placed up against one another. So I'm gonna end up with a kind of gap, which I don't really like. So if we can just go with one. There we go. So you can like slot it into the main tower. That is possible. And that is plenty of engine efficiency. Let's see, barbette. Let's put that there. That is centered. And like so. Getting somewhere. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Alright. Let's go standard quarters on this for a change. Main guns. What do the single Mark V's look like? Oh, they're kind of gun shield models. I was hoping for more like the US Fletcher style. I can go doubles instead of triples. That gives me eight 5-inch guns. Or I could go with 12. If this is going to be a dedicated gunboat, it might as well have a few guns, right? Because most of my destroyers so far have, at least the new ones, got 3 triple turrets, so 9 guns. So this will have 12, but fewer torpedoes. Now, someone did mention that auxiliary 4 apparently weighs less than 3. So we're now at 2184. 2178. That's a little bit lighter. 2215. That's heavier again. Okay. So, yeah, we save about 6 tons currently. Let's see if something similar is the case with propeller shafts. So 2223, 2240, 67, 95. Yeah, I can go a little bit higher on the propeller shaft. We're gonna go modern. Come here. There you go. So how much heavier is anti-flood 3 than 2 on this ship? 2637. We're talking like 40 tons here. It's not a big difference, really. It's about 2% of hull weight. It's not that bad. But it's gonna have to keep in mind, might have to reduce some of this stuff to save weight. Let's go standard ratio. And let's take a look at flash fire tunnels. 0.1. Really? Oh yeah, that's because it's a destroyer. It doesn't have a citadel. 0. There we go. Now it's 0 even with 4. Yeah, it's because I changed that one. That does not add to flash fire chance. Okay. Oxygen. We're still not overweight, but we're gonna end up overweight, I think. Need sonar. Need radar. Radar weighs the same no matter which generation you have, I've found. Point 4 on the main deck, point 2, point 2. Let's just go with a uniform 0.4-inch deck. Point 5 on the turret tops. There we go. Well, these are 5-inch guns. 5.9 is 150 millimeter. Roughly. Close enough. So we're going to do that, and we're going to lengthen them to... let's see, do I have to go +6 to get 40 calibers? Yes, I do. Let's see if we can get some penetration out of the HE rounds. Best we can get is not that much. Let's just go with high capacity. And of course, automatic 2 gun reload. But now we are very much overweight. But this is kind of what I want my ship to be. It looks pretty neat. That's a very aggressive looking gunboat, I would say. You can, the range is very good. We can reduce that one quite a bit. You can turn the shaft down to shaft 2 again. Anti-flood 2. I have to reduce the bulkheads. I was hoping not. But if I have to, I have to. And I do want to have torpedoes on it, because you never know what kind of scenario the AI or the game will put this ship into. Oh, I didn't like that. How about we can go even smaller on the aft tower. A little bit lighter, at least. Come on. There we go. Put that back there. Like so. And because I flipped that around, I can move all of this stuff a tiny bit further back. Just a tiny bit. I'm not talking a lot of weight savings here, but a little bit. How much do each of these turrets weigh? 59 tons and 53 ammo weight. If I reduce ammunition, that's still quite a bit of ammo per turret. Ammo weight is now 34 tons, so that saved a bit of weight. I might then be allowed to go down to Barbette 2. No, not really. Is electrical 2 lighter or heavier? So a little bit heavier. 0.1% flash fire chance. Standard quarters. I would like to have that. Yes. We are in 1948, right? Not a very exciting name, but it's what it's called. I just hope I don't have to reduce speed here. The tower is pretty heavy. "17 base, 38 long range." I don't really care about long range. Yeah, it is really much better than the next best tower. Although, I would save quite a bit of weight because I could then also drop this barbette here. I'm not going to save that much weight by going down in funnel size, so not going to bother. Yeah, no, don't save too much on that. If I go -4 on the beam, a little bit of savings there. Mm, 6% overweight. You need to shave off like 150 tons. If I reduce my torpedo loadout. That did not save a lot of weight. So I reduced my loadout by 10 torpedoes. That saves 5 tons. Do each torpedo weigh only half a ton? I guess they might. Save a little bit more by going down to 22-inch. Although that means weedier torpedoes, but you know, first and foremost a gunboat. Yeah, we're 5% overweight. Ay, what to do? I know there's a lot of stuff I can reduce here, but I really don't like to. We're now 60 tons overweight. 70, excuse me. And that's still okay range, by the way. 16,000 kilometers. That is still okay. I guess we can slightly reduce the guns in size. That did save enough weight. 5.5-inch guns. I still want them to be 40 calibers in length, though. So we're gonna do it like that. And slightly reduce the deck armor thickness. Like so. There we go. That is a gunboat. Very nice. And it's very affordable too. It's only going to cost me 6.5 million a month in maintenance. This is the kind of destroyer you can have stationed around in a bunch of different ports, because it's very affordable. Granted, I've got light cruisers that cost a little bit more than half of this, and are in many ways more capable, at least when fighting enemy destroyers and light cruisers. But if, for example, a squadron of these come up against a battleship, they can deal with that with their torpedoes. In fact, let's see if I can bump these back up to maybe not 24, but we can almost do 23-inch. Like if they get one of those ambush missions, the destroyer ambush mission, they can do that. Light cruisers would probably struggle a lot doing that. They can also fight enemy destroyers effectively. A pure torpedo armed destroyer would struggle doing that. So it's kind of nice. Yeah, I do want some torpedo armament, just just for the fact that I don't know what kind of battles they will get. If they're going to be stationed in ports, you really don't get a choice in the matter. You just have to... No, I do want turret armor. I don't want the turrets getting knocked out too often. Once again, I have to find a way to save weight. Now let's keep that at -4. I can exchange this barbette for a lighter and smaller barbette. Which might actually also look better. Except that one doesn't fit. Come on, 1/2 a pixel. No, you're being difficult. How about that one? It's a very small one. It doesn't work. I could just like place it on the deck. Like that works too. It doesn't need the barbette. You just get better better arcs of fire if you have it on a barbette, and it looks a little bit more complete. But I guess we can do this. And then with the weight saved, plop on a couple of 2-inch guns here. Just because there were a couple of slots for it. In fact, let's put singles here. Once again overweight. but it does look a little bit more complete. So if I make them 1.6 inch, once again stuck with being 1 ton overweight. Darn it. Even if I make them shorter, it doesn't reduce enough weight. Okay, so we're going back to the doubles there. And we're just going to pretend that's enough anti-aircraft armament for this gunboat. Back up to barbette 3. Just overweight again. But we got the flash fire chance down to 0. And then we can do that. And then we can be happy with the design, finally. Yeah. Nice. It's nice having some 2-inch guns on your gunboat DD, because they're quite effective at dealing with like transports and such. Yeah. Good enough. And yeah, the Americans will take some stuff from me here. Not that much I can do about that, but at least these territories aren't worth that much, so I can take them as war operations when we finish the war. Taking this though, that's quite a bit bigger than losing some tiny desert territory. So I think I'm gonna come out on top there with the land trade. That's it for now. Goodbye and take care.